Okay, I have 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on my clock. We're going to go ahead and get started. Hopefully everybody can hear me. My name is Brian Teal. I am co-founder and one of the co-owners of Gluten-Free Brewing Company out of Seattle, Washington. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. I hope that you're having a great day thus far. I'm talking to you today from Seattle, Washington, the Emerald City, and today is being stereotypical Seattle, a little bit of rain and breezy kind of early fall weather. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here briefly so those of you that are on can actually see my face. Awesome. So I'm thrilled to be here on this presentation with everyone today, and I appreciate you taking time out of your day to spend with me. I'm going to put the PowerPoint presentation on here shortly, but I just wanted to say hello so you can see who's actually the voice behind the curtain. And we're going to go ahead and get started here. Lots of great stuff to talk about. We're here to talk about gluten-free beer, but particularly Gluten-Free Brewing and a little bit of the history, a little bit of what we're all about, and all that sort of jazz. So let me switch over to the PowerPoint presentation and let's get going. Okay. So here we are in Seattle. Like I said, it's not a day like that. That's a really nice sunny day, unlike today. Contrary to popular belief, it does not rain all the time in Seattle. So welcome to the 2020 Nourish Festival. If you've already been enjoying a lot of the functionality and features of this year's virtual festival, that's awesome. If today's your first day, I would say you've got a lot of great things to look forward to. And I just want to personally thank Jen and the entire Nourished team. I know there's a lot of people behind the scenes and also in front of the scenes that have put a lot of time and effort to make this work. And I also want to acknowledge the fact that they did a very quick pivot from the live events that were scheduled, and we certainly were disappointed that we couldn't attend those, like I'm sure a lot of other participants and just people in general. But this is the next best thing, and we need to be safe. And I really want to extend my our gratitude for the entire Nourish team as far as being able to make this happen. So as I said, we're going to talk about who Gluten-Free is. You may be familiar with us, perhaps you're not. That's great. I'm going to help you kind of build your knowledge base as far as who Gluten-Free Brewing is, how we became who we are, and what sets us apart from other gluten-free beers and other beers that are on the market that unfortunately get sort of grouped into the gluten-free beer category. And I will talk about that. And those of you on this call that know me know that I'm not afraid to get on a soapbox. And today I brought a big soapbox because we're really going to go deep. And yeah, I'm going to say a couple of things that are probably going to be shocking, but I'm going to speak the truth and things that people need to know that about the stuff that's in some of the things that are labeled gluten removed, gluten reduced, and again put into that gluten-free category. And then we're going to talk about where can you find Gluten-Free beer. And then directly after this presentation, I'm going to be making myself available for another hour to answer any questions that you have. And so I know that you've got the ability to chat with me right now, but I'm going to stay focused on this presentation. So if you have questions, I'll certainly circle back through the chat bar, but an hour or directly after this presentation, I'm going to be available to answer any questions that you may have, and then we can take things offline if we need to. So That being said, one more thing, I do want a quick shout out to our marketing extraordinaire, Amanda. I know that she's listening in right now. She had to visit the hospital for an unexpected surgery this week. I know she's recovering, and she's put a lot of wonderful effort into this presentation and this just us participating in this Nurse Festival. So Amanda, we love you. And glad that you're on the mend, and can't wait to have you back full time. So I want to start out as far as the Ghost Fish, the early years here, and why we chose to be gluten-free. Really, this project started probably in about 2012, and started to come into focus more into 2013. And it really was an idea that started between two friends that were really bad homebrewers. At least I'm not afraid to admit that. And we had this this grandiose idea of opening up a brewery, and which wasn't unlike a lot of other people around that time that were thinking about home brewing and thinking about what it would be like to open up a brewery. And so at that time, and my previous career before starting Ghost Fish Brewing was spent in the aluminum can industry, where that is can, not cannabis, but the aluminum can industry. And I was working for, over the course of 25 years, two of the world's largest aluminum and steel can producers. And I had the opportunity to be exposed to the data that was available for the beer and beverage industries, and to see where the craft beer industry particularly was heading. And at that time, I think there was a little over 3,000 breweries in existence in the United States, and they were showing trends over the next 5 years to reach over 5,000, potentially closer to 7,000, which we certainly have surpassed that in a shorter period of time. And so my concern with opening up a brewery and not necessarily being great beer producers or home brewers, just more passion and energy and maybe just dumb luck, was how would we stand out from everyone else? And so at that time, my wife had already been diagnosed with celiac disease, and she's a beer drinker, and we had tried pretty much every gluten-free beer that was on the market at the time. And I have to say that I was underwhelmed with the offerings. I was underwhelmed with the quality of the beers that were on the market. And, I was obviously trying to put on a good face, and was willing to try, new products coming out. And while things were getting better, I just felt like the beer side of gluten-free versus gluten-free food was lagging behind. I mean, done properly. I mean, let's face it. A lot of food is naturally gluten-free, but even things that are difficult to make gluten-free, I felt like on the food side that there was already, even in 2012, 2013, there was already a lot of good gluten-free foods in the market. Beer, in my opinion, not so much. And so I took this idea to my business partner, and I said, hey, keep an open mind and think about this. So what about being in a very small group, but doing something that's really never been done before, and that is producing the highest quality beer that would appeal to all beer drinkers, regardless of whether they were gluten-free or not. And so my business partner bought into that, and we kind of just started at that point. But many people don't know us, is that we started off with just this idea of being another brewery pretty much doing the same thing, brewing with traditional or modern day malts such as barley, wheat, and rye. And so we pivoted, and that was a scary proposition, because quite frankly, there were very few players in the market that were doing what we had envisioned. In fact, hardly anybody. And there was really no playbook for what we were doing. So we really had to pioneer a lot of what has become sort of just everyday procedures and practices here at Ghostfish. And so there's a couple of things that we did in the very beginning that I'm very proud about, that here in 2020 and beyond really have become sort of staples of the Ghostfish sort of way of living and way of being. And that is, there's no compromises with anything that we do. We're very serious about being dedicated, gluten-free, and I may not have emphasized that enough in terms of is that we are 100% dedicated gluten-free, which means that we never allow raw materials, whether it be in our tap room, in our kitchen, in our facility, that contain gluten. And so we take a lot of pride in that. But I would say what we are more passionate about is producing the highest quality beer that we can from these wonderful grains that naturally grow without the gluten protein. And so I'm going to get into that a little bit more. What you're seeing on your screen right now, that is actually me, circa 2012, a much younger Brian Teal, with a mountain of hops behind him. We do live here in the Pacific Northwest in what some would call the hop universe of the world. We're very proud about that. And that was an early trip to a hop farm to kind of learn more about that side of the business. And then you can see some of the pictures of our brewery here in what is a historic section of Seattle known as Sodo. And this particular building that we moved into was built in 1918, and it was a steel foundry when it opened up. So things looked a little bit different back then, and we'll get to see some pictures of what things look like today. So from that beginning and that pivot and decision to produce gluten-free beer, we had to come up with a name. We had come up with a name before we had decided as far as being gluten-free. Another interesting facet. But we get asked this all the time, so I thought I would address this right up front. What's with the name Ghostfish? Some people have been astute enough to look at it and say, well, ghost fish, I know you don't separate the two words, but there's a G and an F in it. Is it because it's gluten-free? That was sort of a serendipitous discovery that we made sometime after the name and after deciding to be gluten-free. But these pictures that hopefully you're seeing on screen right now will help guide you as far as how we came up with the name. And I'll try to be brief on this, but essentially the picture to the left is the beach house that I was living in at the time, around 2012, 2013, when my business partner and I were trying to come up with a name. And we had lots of names for the brewery, some good, some bad, most of them not really mentionable. And as you can see from this house, it was built on a bulkhead, and that's beach that you see there. This is looking out into the Puget Sound here in Washington and near the port of Tacoma. And so when high tide was in, the water line was about 4 feet below our front windowsill. And so I could look out of my front window and pretty much see water. It was like being in my own personal aquarium. And I had a friend visiting who was standing out on this bulkhead one mid-July evening. It was a clear, sunny, beautiful evening, the kind of summer night that we all live for here in the Pacific Northwest. Not a full moon, nothing particularly special about it other than it was a beautiful night. And he came into the house after standing out there and had this really sort of ghastly look on his face. And I looked at him and I said, what's up? And he's like, I just saw a glowing fish swim in front of your house. And of course, I gave him some grief because, that's what friends do. And I went out, stood on the bulkhead to really just humor him because I had lived there for several years. I had never seen a glowing fish swim in front of the house. And high tide was up. And so we stood there and chatted for a while. It was probably about 30 minutes, and I was about ready to go in. And before I did, this large glowing object appeared in the water, kind of gliding from our right to our left in front of us, and as quickly as it came, it went. Literally, the hair on my arms were standing up, and I looked at my friend, and he was already giving me some finger gestures, telling me that I told you so, and we were just both just completely flabbergasted as far as what we had seen. And I went in and did something that I would not recommend that anybody do, and that is to get online and Google something, because you can definitely find a lot. And you can find a lot of things that you probably will substantiate what you think that you saw or think that you know. That was sort of that fateful evening that night in terms of, and then the next day is when I called my business partner up on the telephone, and I knew that he was going to give me probably the same guff that I had given my friend the night before, and I explained to him what the two of us had seen. And he had a good laugh, hung up the telephone, and about an hour later, the phone rang, and it was my business partner, and he simply said, "Ghostfish Brewing Company." And I'm sure he said that because in my conversation with him, I had said that we had seen a glowing ghost fish or something like that in the water. And I told him I loved it. And that name just sort of resonated. It was the sort of the crafty, sort of powerful name that didn't necessarily tie us to a particular location that we were looking for. And so then we built the logo, we built the brand around that. But at that time, again, we still had not made the decision to be gluten-free. So we decided at that point, from that point is when we decided to be gluten-free. And then it was some months after that that we sort of had this serendipitous discovery that Ghostfish, again, if we looks like my screen sharing has stopped. I apologize. Thanks for those letting me know that screen sharing had stopped. I'm getting you back online. Sorry for that. Okay, there we are. Thank you for that, for those of you that let me know that. So now you can see what I'm talking about. The picture on the left, the beach house, and then the view from the beach house and from that bulkhead. Unfortunately, no pictures of the ghost fish. I wish I did, but that was a quick moment in my lifetime in the history of this company. So yeah, so that's the name. So let's kind of move in and get a little bit deeper into who we are. So I like to say that there are three really foundational pillars to Ghostfish Brewing. And this first one is from the very beginning, we really wanted this to look a certain way. And I'm not talking about the aesthetics as far as the logo or the branding. We wanted this to be 100% craft, but we also wanted a situation where people visited us, whether it was here in the tap room or they discovered Ghostfish on the shelf for the first time, that they were really blown away by the beer. And so, as we say, from the beginning, we've always been about boundary pushing craft beer that also happens to be 100% gluten free. And the reason why we can do that is for a couple of reasons. One in particular are these high quality artisan grains that are turned into malt. And in the world of beer, that is simply the process of starting the germination process for grains, which is a natural process to start to release the sugars in the grains, which is what we need in the brewing world to convert that into alcohol. And the early adapters of gluten-free beer didn't necessarily have access or weren't willing to go down this path of utilizing these grains. Now, these grains have been used in the world of brewing for a long time, predating modern day grains such as barley, wheat, and rye that you find in most beers today. In many areas of the world, you'll find millet beer like in Africa or India or even in parts of Asia that are these staples. And you won't find things like barley beer, things like that. So we already knew that these grains could produce really good beer. But again, as I said previously, there really wasn't a playbook on how to brew with these. And so we really had to make a lot of discoveries on ourselves. And because we really couldn't reach out to other brewers in the area who, despite the fact that we use traditional techniques to produce our beer, we're using non-traditional grains. And so the minute that we started talking about, well, what do we do with millet, or how does it, nobody really has a response to that because nobody was brewing with these things. So without these high quality ingredients, we likely wouldn't be able to put out these high quality beers. Quality in, quality out, as the saying goes. And so we're fortunate that we have access to these. It comes with a price. I'm not going to lie. This is not an easy segment of the beer industry to get into. There is a pretty steep price for these grains, anywhere from 5 to 10 times. They literally cost anywhere from 5 to 10 times more than what traditional brewing malts cost. The other thing is that what's interesting is that whereas today's malts that are used in traditional brewing, modern day brewing, have had what I call hundreds of years of tinkering to the point that today, for example, the barley that's used in the production of beer is actually grown for the purpose of brewing beer. The grains that we use, for the most part, particularly buckwheat and the staple of most of our beers, which is millet. Millet, the number one use in the United States of millet is in birdseed, not brewing. I mean, in fact, you probably wouldn't even find brewing on the list of top 10 uses for millet, at least not yet. And so, and then just the size of these grains compared to the size of a barley kernel makes it, again, some challenges, some difficulties as far as utilizing this for the purpose of making beer. But I'd like to say that we've figured a lot of that out. There's certainly a lot of discoveries left to be made, and we're excited about what the future holds in terms of being able to work with farmers and getting as well as the academic world, universities that are set up to be able to do this type of research to start to produce the type of grains that have what we call diacetic powers that we want for brewing. So I'm not going to get too technical into that. This second pillar in this 3 pillars is award-winning quality. Now we've got a lot of medals on the screen here, and we've been fortunate enough to win some really nice awards, and I don't want to skate over that. It is a big deal, and it's a big deal for us. But my takeaway from winning awards is, when you make a statement that you want to be the best and you want to produce the highest quality beer, we said from the beginning that we never wanted to be the second or the third best gluten-free beer out there, because if we were going to have an opportunity for people who are not gluten-free or people that are just new to gluten-free beer to try us, why would they try the second or third or fourth? They want to try the best. And so we've always strived to be the best gluten-free beer out there. And so awards, for me, tell us that we're on the right track, that we're doing the right thing. We've got a lot of work to do. We're focused on continuing to experiment, to find new ways of producing the beer better. And that's kind of what makes things exciting. But we're really all about the quality. If a beer is not good enough for us, and it's not just a better than the best gluten-free beer out there, it's got to pass all sensory, it's got to pass all quality diagnostics. Otherwise, it doesn't make it to our tap room. It doesn't make it into a package. And so we're really proud about that. And that's something that you can rest assured that will never change in the world of Ghost Fish. This last pillar is exceptional variety. And the exceptional variety is the exceptional variety is one thing that I'm particularly excited about, because we know that from the beginning, the first set of beers, a lot of the gluten-free beers that were out there, the early adapters, as I call, you really had one choice. And if you are celiac or gluten intolerant or just living a gluten-free lifestyle, whatever that may be, and you also are a beer drinker, why should you be limited to just one? Why should you just be limited to one style of beer? And so we wanted to bring everyone a wide variety of beers, and that's what we do. So we offer 6 year-round beers. We have a lot of special release beers. We do limiteds throughout the year, and we're not afraid to really take on any different types of styles. So I'm getting some feedback from our team here that, are we good? Have we advanced? Okay, thank you. Looks like my computer is maybe just having a hard time catching up with some of that, so I apologize if I'm talking about things in the presentation or looking at things that all of you may not be seeing. Hopefully you're seeing the exceptional variety screenshot right now. We get asked this question, can you make this type of beer because you're gluten-free, or concerned about us being limited because we're gluten-free? The answer is really no. I will put an asterisk next to that, and I'll explain that. When I say no, is that there's really, we're only limited to our own creativity as far as what our talented brewmaster and the brew team, can come up with. And we've probably had, I'd say at this point in the history of Ghostfish, opening up our doors to the public in 2015, we've probably had well over 500 different styles of beer roll through our tap room, and I can assure you that we're not done with that as well too. So, as I said before, I wanted to talk a little bit about this whole kind of big question about are we gluten-free? And many of you on this call may have been wondering that, and maybe still wondering that. So I'm going to just kind of address that again, is that Ghostfish Brewing Company is the largest producer of dedicated gluten-free beer in the United States. We are 100% dedicated in the production of gluten-free beer. That's all we do. We have a full kitchen restaurant. We only produce gluten-free food, and every beer that we produce from now until the day that this company ceases to exist will only produce gluten-free beer. You have my word on that. But, however, you may have noticed that there are other types of beers that find their way onto the shelves and find their way into discussion when we talk about gluten-free beer. And that's, and what I'm talking about is gluten-reduced, or beers that sometimes are referred to as crafted to remove gluten. Those beers, quite frankly, disgust me, and I've actually started calling them low-integrity beers. And the reason for that is that there's actually no correlation between a truly gluten-free beer and a beer that is gluten-reduced, or a beer that has been crafted to remove gluten. Beers that are gluten-reduced still contain gluten. They basically, the production of that is they start off with raw materials, grains such as barley, most of it's barley, and they add an enzyme to it to remove some, but not all, of the gluten proteins. And actually, it makes matters worse. That enzyme fractures the protein that causes the main issues in celiacs, people of gluten intolerance, into 1 million pieces. It makes those 1 million pieces more of an issue. The other issue is that they will try to sell you on the fact that there's less than 20 parts per million, which in the United States, currently the FDA requires that if they are to put a tag of gluten reduced or crafted to remove gluten, they have to be test between 20 parts per million. The problem with that is that when it comes to fermented products like beer, there is no validated test that exists to truly determine the level of parts per million of gluten present. And so, I don't really want to get caught up too much into that. There's science out there. There's plenty of people in the science world that are working on this and have done the work. Studies, have shown that there is still present enough of the gluten protein that is causing damage in the lower intestines of people who are celiac. Not that I don't believe that, because I certainly do, but I know from firsthand, because of the loved ones in my life, of being involved with this project for as long as I have, and the number of people that have expressed to me that they have that they continue to get sick from drinking gluten-reduced beers. They wonder why they were getting sick. They wonder why they were still having symptoms. And even some people that say that they're not having symptoms question whether perhaps the damage is still going on. So I'm here to tell you, and now I'm on my soapbox, that if you are celiac or have a strict gluten intolerance, and there may not be a distinction between the two, you should never, and I repeat, never drink gluten-reduced beer. Because, as I said before, that beer is likely still causing damage. The gluten protein is present to cause damage in the lower intestine in your body. And one of the things that I find interesting on the beers that have this, the FDA requires them that if they use the gluten-reduced or the crafted remove statement, they must have a qualifying statement on there. It usually reads, and I've got this on your screen now, you can read it. It says that products fermented from grains containing gluten and processed or treated or crafted to remove gluten. The gluten content of this product cannot be verified, and this product may contain gluten. So that warning is on those products. And I sometimes joke about this, but it's the reality is that all beer has a warning label, and you probably are familiar with it. It's a warning label that says that you shouldn't operate heavy machinery, that pregnant women shouldn't drink beer. I really don't want a second warning on my beer, and particularly if I'm celiac, that says that they can't determine the actual gluten content in the product that I'm about to drink. So as I've said before, to maybe kind of hammer this home, that if you came to Ghostfish and you wanted a glass of water, and I handed you that glass of water, and I said, oh, by the way, there's a little bit of arsenic in that water, you probably would stop and hesitate before you drank it. And then I said, don't worry about it, because there's less than, not even 20 parts per million, but there's less than a part of a million of arsenic in it. Don't worry about it. It's tested. It's going to be fine. You likely would not drink that water. So if you're celiac, my question to you is that why would you even tempt yourself as far as putting a gluten-reduced beer in your body, particularly when you've got so many great options between Ghostfish and many other dedicated gluten-free breweries that are available throughout North America and the world, and there likely will be more that are really doing things the right way and producing high-quality beer that happens to be gluten-free. So I'll step off my soapbox now, but I will leave you with one more time, and that is, don't be duped by gluten-reduced or crafted to remove gluten beers. So let's fast forward to where we're at today. We talked about where we started, a little bit about the brief history of Ghostfish. Here's some picture representations. I'm looking at my team. Are you seeing on the screen now?
There's a delay, Brian, so I'm just waiting. Okay,
so I understand there's a little bit of a delay. So the pictures will catch up to you. Today, things look a little bit different here at Ghostfish. When we started, there was just a few of us, namely 3 of us. And today in 2020, even in this pandemic world that we're living in, we have a little over 20 Ghostfish employees in 3 different states. And the brewery operation continues to evolve as well. We started with about 6,500 square feet of space, as I said, in a very wonderful historic part of the city, in a building that was built in 1918. In fact, if you can kind of see behind me, kind of pointing up above me, hopefully you can see that. Those are the original timbers from this building that was, again, built in 1918. Earlier this year, we had our first really major expansion as far as property expansion. We took over the space directly behind us or to the east of us, about 2,500 square feet that we opened up and installed our own canning line. And there's a picture of that on there. And today we're doing some things that we weren't doing in the beginning. And there's a picture of the barrels that you see on there. We're doing some really nice barrel-aged beers. Our 5th anniversary was a wonderful barrel-aged tart saison, and we're likely to do more of that and some mixed cultures. We're certainly packaging more than we've ever have, trying to keep up with demand. I haven't spent a lot of time talking about this, but we have a wonderful restaurant. So for those of you that haven't ever visited us yet, I would say put us on your bucket list. Seattle is a wonderful place to visit. And I'll share something that was described to me yesterday by a fan that happened to randomly email me, and he said that he has Seattle on his bucket list. He said, it's my understanding that Seattle is one of the most friendly cities in the world, and he considers Ghostfish the crown jewel of Seattle. So I thought that was very appropriate to share with all of you today. But we have a wonderful full kitchen restaurant. Our kitchen staff is doing some amazing stuff in this kitchen, putting out the highest quality. Okay, so I understand that you can't see me and the PowerPoint, so we'll get to the end of that, and I'll show you the original timbers of this place. And so back to what I was saying is that we have a full menu, doing a lot of stuff that many celiacs probably haven't been able to enjoy in quite a while, and that is things like fish and chips and French fries and fried shrimp, but not just all fried food, but some wonderful assortment of different styles of food and types of food, for all, foodies around the world. And so, like I said, today is really an exciting time for Ghostfish, because those of you on this call are likely getting some of this information. It's at the forefront of what really any announcements to the public, and that is that we are about to embark on our second major expansion project in 2020. And in this crazy sideways world that we live in, and the year that we've been having, it's quite an accomplishment that we've had 2 major expansions. But this one is one that's likely to push us into a lot of additional markets that we're not in today, and we've been asked by many people to consider coming to. And so when it's all said and done, we're anticipating that this expansion project's likely to double our current capacity. And right now, our capacity, where things stand as far as the the alignment of tanks and the assortment of equipment that we have to work with, around 4,000 barrels. And if you're not familiar with the quantity measurement of barrels, 1 barrel is the equivalent of 31 gallons. And so this new expansion project is likely to push us over 8,000 barrels. And the exciting thing on that is that this will allow us to spread our wings, and should allow us to continue to move into some really exciting markets throughout North America, and likely into some cities that we've had a lot of fans asking for Ghostfish beer. So we're very excited about that. And I would say that by the first quarter of 2021, we should have the majority of this expansion project wrapped up. And if you're looking at the PowerPoint presentation, you'll see me down in the left-hand corner. That's about 7 years from when that original picture. I guess I really just like to have hops behind my head. And this time, I'm just kind of highlighting the fact that, that Washington's the home of hops. So a little older, I don't know about wiser, but definitely an older Brian Teal there. So moving on, where can you find Ghostfish beer? because I don't know where everybody's at on this call. I can assume that we've got people from all different walks of life, different regions of the country, maybe out of the United States, perhaps in Canada. This may be a little bit difficult to see, and when it catches up, I'm not sure if it's caught up now. It'll be coming on your screen here shortly. There's a sort of a graphic of the United States with some push pins as far as where we're at. You can find this information on our website as well. And this particular graphic just breaks down the different states that we're in. I believe that we're currently in about 13 U.S. states. We have a couple of states that are pending. To be perfectly honest with you, that we just haven't been able to keep up with the current demand of Ghost Fish beer to break into those pending states. And we have a lot more that I would say are on deck. We're currently distributing to 2 Canadian provinces, the province of British Columbia and Alberta, as well as we've started to do some direct shipping to a handful of states, and we're trying to expand that. It's not the easiest venture because every state has varying degrees of laws that pertain to alcohol shipments and purchasing online. So there's I guess you could say there's a lot of red tape to push through on those. But today there's a handful of those, and again, look for more. And then we partner up with a few other companies. We have a retailer here in the state of Washington, Marina Market. Give them a shout out that they've been a great supporter of Ghost Fish over the years. Some of you on this call might be purchasing your beer from Marina Market. They have a different type of license than we do, being a producer. They're a retailer. And so they ship to somewhere north of 30 different states, only U.S. states that they can ship our beer to, and then a few other companies that we have brought on here recently to start to sell our beer and get beer to people that want it in different areas of the country. So look for more of that. In addition to this big picture that's next to the graphic is me standing next to the very first pallet of Ghost Fish beer that currently is en route to the UK. And the customer in the UK that's going to be distributing this beer has told me that they're about a week or two from the pallet landing in their home market, and they're super excited about that too, because they are thirsty, pun intended, to get some really good, high quality, dedicated gluten-free beer in the UK as well as throughout Europe. Because in Europe, I won't spend a lot of time talking about this, but the beer that's predominantly present is gluten reduced, as we talked about, and so they're obviously having those same discoveries. People that are drinking gluten-reduced beer are realizing that they're still getting sick, still having the symptoms, and reaching out and calling out for dedicated gluten-free beer. So you're likely going to see more exporting of dedicated gluten-free beers coming from the United States to other countries. And then I've advanced the screen. I know it's going to take take a short while to catch up with everybody, but one of the things that I'm very proud about, and it just brings me nothing but wonderful joy in my life, is to see all the pictures and to hear all the wonderful comments from people around the world, around the United States, around neighboring countries and Canada, that are not afraid to share their love for Ghost Fish. And all these photos that hopefully are on your screen now. Aaron, are we good?
Talking and the visuals are insane in the latest.
Okay, and so these pictures that hopefully you see on your screen are all pictures that were shared to me and to Ghost Fish from fans that I just know. I know there's a lady from Utah that's on here. There's somebody that took actually a Ghost Fish beer to Mount Kilimanjaro. There's Colorado. There's Boston. There's Washington. There's Indiana. I don't know where the rabbit was drinking their beer at, the bunny, but somewhere around that. The point is that our sort of branding, we really hope that people, catch on to what we're kind of laying down, with our brand, is that we want people to get out and explore. We talk about, transcending your limits. It just really means, like breaking through, like the things that hold you back, and trying new things, and making new discoveries, and pushing yourself to new limits. And, we're proud that our brand can travel along and be part of those experiences and explorations and things like that. And we're going to continue to keep pushing the boundaries and giving all of you, just high quality, exceptional varieties of beer that you can take wherever it may be, whether it's your backyard, whether it's your kitchen, whether it's your favorite mountain to climb, or favorite ocean or pond or lake to hang out on. We want to be there with you. So as we're getting down to the end of this, I know it's time to drink somewhere, and it's still a little early here. Early for some people, but I just want to leave you all with a big cheers from the Pacific Northwest. And hopefully when the picture catches up, it's one of my favorite beers, one of the very first beers that we did, our Vanishing Point Pale Ale, which has a kind of a fun tongue-in-cheek graphic on it, showing some skinny dippers, some people that have gone skinny dipping. But really the point I want to make here is that Ghostfish Brewing is proud to be part of the new sort of group of gluten-free beers that you'll find in the market. We take a lot of pride, as I've said before, in the fact that we are 100% dedicated gluten-free, and we're most proud about the fact that we make high-quality beer that everyone can enjoy. So you don't have to be embarrassed. You don't have to drag your non-gluten-free friends to Ghostfish or to share our beer with them. They can enjoy this beer as well. And so as I kind of wind down today's presentation, I want to thank you for your time and basically allowing me to spend some time with you and to share a little bit more about who we are and what we do. And hopefully you'll be able to find us in where you're living. I apologize if you're living in a part of the country or some area that we're not currently either distributing to or able to distribute. You have my promise that we plan to be everywhere that people want us to be. We just need to get all the pieces in play. So again, a quick reminder as we come to the end of this is that directly after this presentation, I'm going to make myself available to answer any questions that all of you may have. I'm going to stop my screen sharing here. And hopefully I'll be back here on screen. And there I am. And so this is the above me, kind of that way back there. Those are some of the original timbers from 1918. It's a fabulous place, some incredible views from upstairs in our mezzanine, the Seattle skyline. And I hope that you can all put Seattle on your bucket list and come see us. And look forward to meeting many of you and hopefully seeing many of you that are on this call, our friends, share all this information with people that you know that don't know about us. Hopefully we'll be able to meet face-to-face next year and the years beyond for live face-to-face Nourished events that will be coming to a city near you. So with that being said, I'm going to just kind of hang on here. We got a few more minutes, and I will try to answer a few of these questions that may be on screen. And again, directly after this, I'll make myself available. I think you have to log out of this presentation and then sign back up for the Q&A chat with me, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So I'll just kind of scroll up through here and see what some of the things that were on your mind. Looked you up. So far, you are not in Georgia. That's correct. Sorry about that. It will be in Colorado in November. Can't wait to try Ghostfish beer. All Seattle's on my bucket list. Colleen, you're right. Many of the states, what we often refer to as the Bible Belt in the United States, the laws are very prohibitive there. It's not to say that we can't distribute there, but we will get there to Georgia in due time. But you can absolutely pick our beer up in Colorado, and obviously if you come here to visit. Let's see. Derek says, happy to see your beer at Costco. Yes, we've started a new venture with Costco here in Washington, and soon in the 4 Costco stores in Alaska. And then all 13 states that we're in all have Costco, so we're looking to expand that as soon as we can make enough beer to keep up with Costco. And let's see. Is Nebraska on your imminent expansion list? Yes, the Cornhusker State is on our list, and we do have other fans that have reached out to us from there. I can't tell you when, but like I said before, we plan on being wherever anybody wants us to be, and Nebraska certainly would be on that list. And let's see. Good. Sounds like some people are finding how to get a hold of us. 100% correct. Gluten-free removed. Anything is horrible. Feel it within seconds. Amen. Sinead. And can you ship your beer to Texas? We cannot ship our beer to Texas, meaning that we can't ship direct. Again, Texas is one of those states that has some really difficult state laws as they pertain to liquor. But Texas, I can tell you, is on the short list of states that we are looking to expand distribution to. We've had a lot of interest from many different areas within Texas. So look for that again. Can I buy your beer in stores? I'm from Pennsylvania, or do I just order online? We're in eastern Pennsylvania, mainly around the Philadelphia area, and not yet in western Pennsylvania. So, and I don't think that you're able to in Pennsylvania, again, because of those state laws. So we can check on that. St. Petersburg needs a brewery. It needs our brewery. I would agree with that. Been there. It's a beautiful place, and would love to expand to see that. And I'm happy to see that California is on the list as well too. Yes. How can I get it in California? I will tell you, Marty, that as I've talked about this short list, California absolutely is on the shortest list of where we intend to be. We want to continue our movement down the West Coast into California. Obviously, California being a large state, we'll likely start north and move our way down south. And yeah, we're super excited about that because we know that there's a tremendous amount of fans there. I want to take a quick moment to shout out all of our social channels where you can certainly learn more about Ghostfish. We're on pretty much everything that as I'd say, all the kids are on, but all the people are on, everybody except for me. Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, Instagram, yes, all those things. We have some amazing people that are doing some amazing things on all those things. You can learn more about Ghostfish Beer on all those social channels, as well as our website, which is simply www.ghostfishbrewing.com. We try to keep that updated as best we can, and you can learn as far as what beers that we have, when they'll be going to be released. That's also, you can find out the beers that we do ship to those limited areas. Cincinnati, Ohio, and here received my celiac diagnosis in 2019. Sorry, Crystal. I apologize for that. And Miss IPA is something terrible. Can you give your personal Ghostfish IPA recommendation? Beautiful question, Crystal. And me, also being from Ohio, I shout out to a fellow Buckeye. Ohio, even though I live in Washington, I still consider Ohio my home state. And my recommendation for my favorite Ghost Fish IPA is our Peak Buster Double IPA. I know that our #1 selling IPA is our Grapefruit IPA, and I'm going to tell you that you should definitely try that. I'm not going to have you shy away from that one. My personal favorite is Peak Buster, and I also love our Kickstep IPA. So we've got 3 fantastic IPAs that I really believe if you are an IPA fan, not to mention that we started this year a wonderful rotating hazy IPA series. And when that comes out, you'll want to get your hands on that. Crystal, I can tell you that being, again, that Ohio is my home state, I am working very hard to get Ghost Fish beer into Ohio. I believe 2021 will be the year that we're going to crack that nut. But right now, you are able to have beer shipped directly from the brewery to the state of Ohio. And I just want to take a quick moment. I know we're getting down to the last few minutes of me being on this presentation, that shipping beer is expensive. And just know that the sticker shock that you see from what it's going to cost to buy the beer and then have the beer shipped, we, Ghost Fish, don't have any say as far as the cost of that. We just simply are passing that cost through. And it is expensive because shipping a case of beer is heavy, and we use FedEx, and we do that for reasons, legal reasons, and to make sure that we stay compliant. And so I can just tell you that it's worth the every penny, and to try us, for those of you that are hesitant to spend that money. As the raw material cost is so high, have you considered malting your own grains? Craig, that's a great question. We have talked about that. It's just one of those things where we want to do, one thing really well. We're just not really set up for that. We've got some amazing partners that are doing that for us, that we have a lot of trust and faith in. And as the economies of scale continue to grow, we're going to see those costs, continue to go down. Kelly Nelson wants to know, do we have a red or amber variety? Presently not in our lineup or in our seasonals. We had a red IPA. We had a red ale in our spring seasonal. Truthfully, it's not a style that large numbers of people reach out for. It is a great style. We all love it here. So from time to time, we do have that in our repertoire. And Vanishing Point certainly is probably the closest to that, as far as that malt character that I think you probably are looking for in a red or an amber variety. So with that being said, it looks like I'm down to the last minute. Again, I just want to thank everyone that has taken the time to be part of this. I'm really thrilled the number of people that I see on here, and hopefully that you come over and all these questions that you have that you've given me, I want to be able to dig into them more. I want to be able to see your faces, which I understand I'm going to be able to. And then again, you have a personal invitation from the founder and co-owner of Ghost Fish Brewing Company to come visit us, check us out. We love meeting new people and sharing, hearing about what brought you to see us and what we can do to be your beer of choice in the future. With that being said, peace out, stay safe, and I'll catch you on the Q&A side of things.